Hello, guys. Welcome. Self-esteem for better boundaries. And man, the lighting is just not. Tell you what, I had the best lighting in the daytime, and then it goes down when the sun goes down. Go figure. All right, guys, if you're new here, my name is Arica Angelo, dating and relationship expert of 14 years now. Before we get into this, I'm very excited. Last week, you guys, we did a beta course testing it out about boundaries. And it was phenomenal. I was so glad with um, the progress that everyone made and the things that we learned. And it was just a really powerful course. So I am currently recording it. This was a live version, and I'm recording the actual course. So I cannot wait to share that with you guys. So, essentially, when we talk about boundaries, it's essentially saying I have value. I value myself. I matter. And when you say you matter, then you show up differently in this world. You put a demand on how you see yourself, and then the world responds back to you, mirrors it back to you. Our boundaries basically is how we teach the world to treat us, and it always starts with ourselves. So inherently, when you're starting with yourself and building better boundaries, naturally what's going to grow, what's going to build your self-esteem, right? Hey, yo, Williams, so glad you're here. Hi, Ninja Wolf. I'm good. How are you? You woke up with a sore left leg, so I decided to take it easy with the meditation for a while. I'm hoping you feel better, darling. Thank you. He loves my cherry nail. Penguin, hi, darling. Thank you for being here. Penguin was part of our live experience. It was just fantastic having you guys in there with me. It was really wonderful. So here's the thing. When we don't have boundaries, when we just, hi, Joe, thank you for being here. When we don't have boundaries, when we basically say, I have no parameters, like whatsoever, you can do whatever you want. You can talk to me anyway. You can break your word with me. If we have plans, you can cancel on me at the last moment. Guess what? When you show up with that way, in life, with very limited boundaries, people respond to you. They mirror that back to you. They go, well, they don't care. Like, oh, they're nice. They won't mind. Oh, but you're canceling your plan on them at the last minute. Yeah, they don't care. They're super easygoing. And so being easygoing, being the overgiver, being the people pleaser, the nice guy, the nice girl, what happens is you start feeling taken advantage of. You start feeling disappointed in the way that people treat you. And then essentially it takes a toll on you. Why? Because you think like, obviously I'm a POS, because if I weren't, people would treat me differently. But what you don't realize is that you are setting yourself up by not having good boundaries. So this is something I'm going to be talking about a lot. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Because what I found was over the years that when people came to me and they were looking for help with their love life, essentially most people weren't able to value themselves. And I could see that through their very soft boundaries. So you're going to hear a lot of that coming from me, along with a new course, and also something that I'm putting together for you to be able to articulate how to say things in a right way that people will respect you for. But listen, if you struggle with boundaries, if it's like affecting your marriage, your finances, your relationship, and you just don't know how to change that, please, you're welcome to reach out to me for some coaching. I just pinned a link there for you. If you really need help and you're like, Arica, more than a course, I need some actual like one-on-one guidance, be sure to reach out to me for some coaching. So let's play out this scenario, right? Let's say that um, you had something happen in your life that was very private, and you tell your friend, hey, I want to tell you something. It's a bit private, but this is what happened. Then let's say that weekend, you and your friends, you guys all get together, you go to a dinner, and you find out everyone at the table knows your private thing that occurred, that you told that one friend, and that friend told everybody. Now everyone at the dinner table knows about it, and they're like, hey, I heard about this going on in your life. Are you okay? And you're like, I just told that person. That person violated your boundary. So when you're at that dinner table and everyone's looking at you and they're repeating that very private thing back to you, you start feeling like, I'm not important. There's something obviously wrong with me. Why would my friend do this to me? They obviously don't respect me. Can you imagine going through that entire dinner and then not saying anything to your friend, not confronting it, not handling it? And then you go to bed that night. Can you imagine the self-talk that is going to play out in your mind when you don't address that, when you don't speak up for your boundaries? Because basically, when we're talking about boundaries, it's putting a voice to what we want, what we need, and what we will not tolerate. So can you imagine not saying anything and then going to bed? The thoughts that will be racing through your mind that night, right? But what would it do, hypothetically, what would it do to your self-esteem if when everyone started repeating back that one thing that that friend was not supposed to say, that you go, well, that was actually shared in private and it wasn't okay, that all you guys know, I appreciate that you guys care for me, really means the world to me. But that was actually shared in private. And then you look at the friend who did this and you just stare at them, right? Then after everyone's done eating, you whisper to that friend, hey, I need to talk to you. Hey, look, I shared with you that that was really private. And when you go and share my business with everyone, it makes me feel really disrespected. And you've broken my trust. Now, can you imagine if you handled it that way? Granted, you're still going to feel uncomfortable. It still feels like you've been violated. It doesn't feel nice. But you get to face you the next morning. And instead of having all that negative self-talk where you beat yourself up and you berate yourself, the next morning you can wake up and you can be mad at the appropriate person, which is the person who violated your boundaries, as opposed to going inward and blaming yourself. So you get to say, I stood up for myself. I used my boundaries. I used my voice. And can you see where that's going to build your self-esteem? But not only that, that one event in which you stood up for yourself, that you then get to take that and you can go, okay, not only did I stand up for myself, but I just taught everyone at that dinner table how I expect to be treated. My friends now know that they can't go discussing my private matters behind my back, that is just not going to fly. It's just not going to fly anymore. And can you imagine how good you will feel knowing that your friends go, ooh, this is a different Joe. Joe just said, I don't have to imagine it. I've been there a few times. Can you imagine, Joe, if you had that conversation with your friends and you were like, we're not doing this? How it would change that dynamic and how much better you would feel about yourself. Let's talk about when you're in a relationship. Let's say you're in a relationship and let's say your partner, this is a very real subject, your partner keeps flirting with the opposite sex. Hi, Lucas. I'm so glad you're here, darling. Your partner keeps flirting with the opposite sex right in front of you. And you're like, what the hell? But when you're insecure, you go, okay, this is obviously very disrespectful. But I'm not going to say anything because I don't want my partner to get mad at me. I don't want to create awkwardness. And, we've been getting along so well. And I just don't want to cause any problems. And we're just starting to get along. I don't want to cause any problems. And I'm just going to let it slide. But on the inside, you feel like crap because your partner is blatantly disrespecting you and you're not saying a damn thing, all under the premise of that you just want you guys to get along. Well, you can't get along because you feel hurt by this situation. So you're not fully showing up in that relationship because you've already checked out because you feel a bit hurt by your partner. And so the best thing that you can do is confront it. Do a little nudge to your partner and be like, hey, cool it. You're coming across as flirtatious. It's creepy and I feel disrespected. Cut it out or I'm walking away from the dinner table and you can find a different ride home. What would you like to do? Would you like to cut out the flirting? Or would you like me to make a scene and I'm going to leave right now? Which scenario would you like to have happen? And listen, your partner, they may get upset and you're causing drama. No. You chose to bring in drama when you decided to act like an asshole. So what would you like to do? Don't gaslight me and don't put this on me. Be accountable for how you're showing up right now. So what would you like to do? You got two choices. Which one will you choose? Now, that sounds very difficult. It sounds very hard, but guess what? You don't have to go to bed lying to yourself about being happy and content and feeling loved by a person who's just disrespected you. You don't have to play games with yourself, psyching yourself out that you're happy in that scenario when you're not. Because the more that you lie to yourself, the more you tear down your confidence, the more you tear down your self-esteem. Lying to yourself will never get you ahead. It will never build you up. It will never make you feel strong. But using your voice and saying, hey, this is not okay, is going to build some respect. And guess what? That same partner who's acting like an ass, you just taught them if they show up with that behavior, that there are consequences. And so guess what? When they go to act like an idiot, they're going to think twice about that. They're going to go, wait, hold on. Last time I pulled this, there was this scene that was had. Do I want to look like an ass again? Maybe they're a hard-headed learner. Maybe you got to teach them a couple of times. But the point of the matter is they're going to understand that there are consequences for their actions. But no one will ever learn that if you continue to tolerate people who break down your boundaries. No one's going to learn that because it's your job to teach them. And it's your job to do that for yourself. But most of the time we compromise, we negotiate, we tell ourselves it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't really matter. When it's BS, of course it matters. It's hurting your heart. It's hurting your self-esteem. And you downplaying it just prolongs it. I saw this brilliant quote by Jordan Peterson. I really respect Jordan Peterson. He said this, he said, when you avoid conflict, all you do is store it up for the future. And you always feel stronger. Every time that you use your voice, it's you telling yourself, I matter. I have significance. I value myself. to not let this slide, to not push it under the rug. And listen, I've had people in the past, people who don't like boundaries. I have been called overly sensitive. You're too harsh. You draw too many lines in the sand. I've heard everything. And I look back at them and go, yeah, and you've got some weak ass boundaries. And the people in your life treat you accordingly. People don't treat me that way, but they treat you that way. So don't worry about what I'm doing. Worry about what you do and how the world treats you. Joe says, I actually left a woman in a really romantic dinner over her flirting with the waiter multiple times during the dinner. I gave her the choice to stop disrespecting me or I'm walking out. Abso-freaking-lutely. Good for you. I'm glad that you did that. Because here's the thing. Too many people are so worried about what everybody else thinks. Like in that scenario, most people go, oh, well, I would never do that. I would never want to cause a scene. Oh, so you think so little of yourself that you're going to sit there and you're going to make everybody else feel okay with you being disrespected while you sit there and take it. That's how much value you have for you, that you prioritize all these other strangers who are not paying your bills, who are not paying for your therapy, who are not responsible for your mental health. You're going to put all of their needs on the forefront and put you on the back burner to make them happy. What kind of ass backwards logic is that? Absolutely not. Nobody takes precedence on how you value yourself. Nobody does. You can't give out what you don't have. And you can't give people respect, love, and adoration if you do not choose to show up in this world giving that to yourself. Baby, you matter. You are special. You are precious. You're one of God's children. There is nobody like you on this planet. Damn it, get in that mirror and start treating yourself accordingly. Quit going through this life trying to make everybody else happy while your self-esteem suffers. Nobody deserves that right. Nobody has earned that. They're not giving you anything. What are you getting by demoralizing yourself and dropping your self-esteem? Nobody on this planet is giving you anything that deserves that kind of power. Not one person. And until you value yourself this way and make a stand for yourself, your self-esteem will suffer. And let me tell you, if you're in a relationship where someone doesn't value you and you don't feel valued by that person, then what are you doing? Because it's counterproductive. You're trying to add value to yourself and they're just taking it away. It's not productive. Penguin says, get a new girlfriend. They never change. Live through that. Lucas says, a lot of traveling like Crazy Parrot in Cyprus now. Oh, nice. I love that you're traveling in Cyprus. Penguin says, pull that bee aside and leaving, having a good time. I have done that. Let them take a cab. Absolutely. Neutral 69 says, laughing out loud. True, right? Thank you, Charles. Charles says, I like your topic being discussed. John says, you're right, Arica. Do some women use that as a control thing? You mean flirting? Yes. Women have been doing that for centuries. Ninja Wolf says, you got to put your serious face on. Otherwise, she's going to stomp on you and your pride like a piece of gummy candy and spit on you. Wow. Bringing that heat, Ninja Wolf. Let's talk about your family. Like we're talking about even in relationships. What about in your family? It's the same thing. Like, I think it's sometimes I was doing interviews with people around this boundaries course, and someone said, you know, I think it starts sometimes with your family first before you even get it into relationships. And of course it does, because that's where you lost your boundaries or never were taught that you had a right to boundaries, was with your family. And so if your family just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, and you just keep taking, that in itself is breaking down your self-esteem. It's okay to have a timeout from the family and be like, hey, I don't like how you guys completely disrespect me over and over again. And when you guys, I hear all the time about like family events. People are always messaging me, I don't want to go to this family event. So don't go. Tell them, look, I love you guys, but I have other plans. Well, you don't love us. Hey, 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 hey. It feels like you're trying to control my life right now. Now, I don't think that's what you're doing, but it feels that way. Was that what's happening here? Well, we just want you. I know, but what you want doesn't get prioritized over what I want. Like, who deems you higher than I do, than myself? And sometimes it's getting a backbone with the family, and then that will trickle into every single one of your relationships. But it's like when you see, I've seen some nice guys, it's like those guys who have, the mother-in-laws from hell, who the guys don't have any backbones. And so their mother is still running their lives. I've seen guys like this where it's like they don't have a voice and their mother is still dictating their life. And it's like, man, grow a pair. And it's the same thing with women, women who have their mothers still running their lives. And it's like, no, 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 no. That ship has sailed. But if you don't show up and start putting boundaries with your family, that can take just as much of a toll on your self-esteem as it can in a romantic relationship. And it can also defeat all the work that you're putting in your relationship when you show up with your family and then they just break you down. And it's like, no, there's not one area in our life that our boundaries do not infiltrate. Finances, friendships, church members, work colleagues, business partners, you name it. People you even go to the gym with, you're part of gym groups. Boundaries affect every aspect in your life. And when you start letting those slip, of course, it's going to affect your self-esteem. And the only way that you're going to reclaim that and rebuild that is by using your voice. Joe said, the way women are nowadays makes it hard to find a quality woman. They want a man to bow down to them and be this wussy version of yourself. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's experience in Vegas. Yeah, I wouldn't say that that's all women, because, those are typically like men who are pushovers, and women don't respect guys like that. So, and here's the thing, just because someone says they want something, doesn't mean that that's actually what they want. Remember what Henry Ford said? He said, if I had asked the market what the market wanted, they would have said faster horses. And he said, instead, I built cars. And so a lot of times what people say they want and what they actually need are very two different things. So I would say that while women, may tell you, oh, I wish you were someone that just, curtailed to my every need. No, women want men who have a backbone. Who's like, yeah, that's not going to fly here, sister. Not working here. Cayman says, I don't really have contact with some family members. I told my parents to stop babying me and let me grow up. Yeah, and sometimes too, and when it comes to boundaries, the other thing is, listen, most people, and I'm not saying in every scenario, but most people actually want to give us what we need. So it's great to be able to tell a person, no, I don't want this. But it's also just as powerful to be able to express to people what you do need. You know, it's like, have you ever heard, like, when you're raising a child, like, when you just tell a child, no, 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 it's all they ever hear is no. But sometimes what that child needs is different options. And so when it comes to the people in our lives that we want to keep, it's giving them different options. Hey, I need this, and it would help if you did this. I mean, people aren't out there reading our minds. We have to show them the way in terms of what we want and what we need, and vice versa. They have to do the same with us. And that is a boundary in itself. Being able to communicate what you want and what you need is using your voice. It's not just saying no, but it's also saying, hey, I would really like this. Like saying, like, hey, you know, I would really like if you went for an evening walk with me. Like, I go by myself. It would really mean a lot to me if you came. And when that person goes, oh, shoot, I didn't realize that was important to you. And then they come, how good do you feel knowing that all you did was use your voice, expressed what you wanted, what you needed. And that person was happy to oblige because they love you. And you facilitated that all by using your voice, all by having a boundary and going, hey, I have this need and I'm going to use my voice to facilitate that. Penguin says, now after this class, I see what I did wrong with my family. They tossed me around. I did not know better. It is too late now, but I learned I no longer talk to them. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like, yes, having the right boundaries definitely helps our self-esteem. But when we don't have the proper boundaries, it comes with some major consequences. Family, finances, mental health, marriages that end in divorce. You know, so many times there are divorces that just don't need to happen, but it's because two people have really bad boundaries. And it just doesn't need to be that way. Lucas says, that is amazing advice to validate our feelings. Absolutely. Thank you, Penguin. Penguin says, everyone needs your class. Yes, I'm doing, it's 5 trainings, this boundaries course that I'm going to release. And today I was able to record 2 of them. So I just cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on this. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Matsy. Thank you for coming. I really, really appreciate you being here. Devin says, thank you for streaming. You are so welcome, my dear. You are so welcome. So even, you know, guys, even with our friends, it's like for people who are single and you're not in a relationship, let me encourage you with this. Don't wait until you get into a relationship to start practicing boundaries. In fact, that is the worst time to wait, to wait for that. Practice with who you have in your life right now. I want you to ask yourself, where in my life do I feel like I keep getting violated? Where in my life do I feel like I have limited boundaries? And who are the faces? Who are the people that I see when I think of this? And so then you have to start handling that. You have to start going, okay, where do I need to assert myself more? Where do I need to start advocating for myself more? And then showing up accordingly. Now, when I have this course ready, I'm going to have actual scripts that you can use, and it's going to be completely life-changing. But in the meantime, getting very clear of who are the people that you have weak boundaries, because when that is the case, it is coming with a cost. It comes with a price. Every time that we compromise ourselves and we are not true to what we desire, what we need, what hurts us, and we're not true and we don't speak up for that, we compromise a part of ourselves. And then when we wonder why we show up in this world a shell of a person, it's like, because you keep compromising yourself. You don't hold true to what you need, desire, and want. And then you feel like a shell of a person. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Guys, thank you so much for being here. It just slipped my mind. I'm in France and you guys are in the States, and I forget that it's Labor Day. I was like, Why are there like no people here today? It's like small. So the ones, you guys who chose to show up, thank you so much for being here. And I completely forgot. It is Labor Day in America. I hope you guys have fun, drink beer, eat barbecue, go out on the lake, enjoy your life. You like that Texas accent? You like that? Derek says, a strong and confident woman is worth pursuing. I completely agree. Turbo Tom, you're so welcome, darling. Thank you for being here. Joe says, even though I'm 52 and have had a really hard life when it comes to relationships, I feel like I need help with not only relationships, but with myself to be a better me. For sure. I think we all do, Joe. I think we all do. You can check out my coaching link or when this boundaries course comes out. I know it's going to be really impactful on a lot of people. Matt says, thanks, Eric. I know you're in the UK. He said it was your holiday last Monday. Guys, you are so loved, and just know that, you know, your self-esteem really can be built and it can be increased. It can grow stronger by you trusting yourself that you will speak up for you when you need to. I love you so much. Reach out if you need coaching. Know that you're loved. We are not doing a live this Thursday. We'll be back on Monday, as I will be recording and getting everything prepared so that we can get this boundaries course out to you guys ASAP. ASAP. I love you all. Have a beautiful Labor Day wherever in the world you are. Just know that you are loved, you matter, and I cannot wait to see you next Monday. And we do have a live video coming out. I can't wait for you guys. I'm sorry, not a live video, a video coming out tomorrow. Be sure that you tune in, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Much love. Take care, guys. Bye.